All right, what's up, guys? This is Master of One Podcast, episode 41, EAC Fall Championship I. If you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see the Magnus versus Vidic Chess.com SEC Championship in the background. That is the background for this video. At least I'm double checking, and yes, it is. Um, yeah, so I'm going to add this. I want to talk about Magnus too. Um, Once again, I will get into the important stuff real quick, but there has been a lot of hate on Magnus recently, and I don't really understand. Like, people don't hate on Michael Jordan, but people hate on Magnus Carlsen. I think it has become very popular to hate on the mainstream fighter. Um, but I will get into that at the end of the podcast. So now you have something to look forward to if you're wondering what is going on. Everyone hating Magnus, Adesanya, all the Patriots, that's another one. Okay, anyway, so let me go ahead and start. EAC Fall Championship wrapped up this weekend, 9/9 to 9/10. Yes, those are the days. 45 players. I would say it was a big success, at least for chess in Atlanta. The new venue was amazing. Everyone liked the venue. Everyone was really happy there. I had multiple people come up to me and say that they just got a very good vibe being at the tournament. And every time we're like, should we do this? Sometimes running tournaments is not super easy, but then someone comes up to you or multiple people come up to you and say, wow, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you. And like I said in previous podcasts, it warms your heart and it motivates you to get back and keep putting in the work. So winners from the tournament, let me read them off. First place was Ethan Sheehan. Second place was Davis Wally. Third, Andrew Zhang for the championship section. Under 2200 in the championship section was won by Shankar Janalagada. Under 1800, first and second was a tie between Beloved Egbodian and Noah Winter. Beloved won the tie breaks, and he gets the trophy, but they both split the cash prize. Third place was Adrian King. Under 1600 was won by Ganeshwar. I don't even think I'm going to say last names anymore. Like, you know who you are. Unless it's like Dave. If there's a bunch of Daves, then I'll say the last name. Credit goes to announcers and commentators who have to say out the last names. They can be pretty difficult sometimes. Under 1400 was won by Shrieker. Second was split between Thamaya and Greg Cook. Shout out to Greg. It was pretty much his first tournament, and he did really well. He was actually winning against the guy who got first, but then losing against the guy who got second, but came back and won that game. And then under 1,000 prize was split between three people, Oliver Cook, Srihasa, and Raphael Funk. And then the Scholastic was really good. The kids had a lot of fun. It was their first time. You know, there actually wasn't any tears. Like, okay, one kid was close to crying. Maybe two kids were close to crying, but they did a really good job, and no one had a breakdown, and no one really cried. They were just sad. In my experience with chess tournaments, and even like when I run chess at schools, and I do like a tournament for a trophy, like kids will cry then too. So, and okay, to be fair, I'm not saying anything's wrong with crying. I cried when I was a kid too. But the kids did a really good job. They stayed really poised. They had a lot of fun. The parents had a lot of fun. And hopefully the goal would be to put together multiple schools. Like Drew Charter had about 20 kids playing in this tournament, and they were all pretty much Drew Charter kids schools, or kids from the school. Now, if we can put together 3, 4, and eventually like 20 schools together for the tournament, we can really pack this place out, and it's going to be very interesting. And I do really believe investing in the future for Georgia chess is the schools, the Scholastic, the kids. So I think that is something that we will definitely try to focus on and improve in the upcoming months. So let me just say the winners. First in K through 8 was Carter Williams. Second, Corbett Clayton, and third is Albert Wakuteka. K through 5, first is Gareth Wallace. Second is Parker Shumkat, and third is Jack Patterson. See, all very, very simple names to say, pretty much. So let's go ahead and talk about different aspects of the tournament, improvements, and things that we improved and things that we can improve. One thing I want to say is bonuses / best game of the tournament. Honestly, I didn't really see anything super special this tournament. I would say everyone who won a bonus, Ethan would get a bonus for beating Zapata. Shankar will get a bonus for beating Kagan, but they all won prizes, so I don't really think they need an extra bonus on top of that. So not many people really submitted games, or we didn't really see games worthy of a bonus. So it's there, and I think it's completely fine not giving a bonus if I didn't see anything special. So just no bonuses this tournament, and that's going to happen. While I'm here, shout out to Chris Cyprian Bodega and Argosy for sponsoring. Like, we definitely could not have done it without these guys. They help a lot, and they do a lot for the chess world, so we're very, very thankful of them. So the next thing before I get into the improvements is the 2023 schedule. So probably what our plan is for the rest of 2023 is to do a 1 day in October, a 1 day in November. Now we're thinking about doing 1 days and having the next day be some kind of blitz or rapid or some combination of both. So we'll have a 1 day tournament for rounds game 60, and then on the next day we'll have a Scholastic supplemented by a rapid and a blitz tournament, which could be very interesting and a lot of fun, and would also definitely take the pressure off of having to get all these entries. And I think the community would enjoy it too. And I definitely can see there is a huge, I don't know, like, people like playing quick chess and blitz chess and not playing standard rated chess all the time, because I think people are conscious about the rating. And for me, that was something that was different. Like, when I played chess, like, my dad was always having me play pretty much no matter what, just to get rating. And now I'm really learning through the Georgia community that's not everyone. A lot of people play chess, believe it or not, for fun or just to enjoy or do things, not to with the goal of being grandmaster in mind. So it's not like pushing, but doing so many big rated tournaments, instead of really focusing on that, I think it's going to be good to add some more casual or fun tournaments monthly. And in December, we will do the next 2 day big tournament like we did this past weekend. So 1 day plus more fun event the next 2 months, or one in I'm stumbling, but one in October, one in November, and then another big one in December. So that is the schedule. I think I was going to say something else, but let's go ahead. Now, improvements from the last tournament to this one, I will say location. And it's not that Brandon wasn't a great location. Once again, shout out to Brandon. They did a good job. They really helped us out. I will just say Drew Charter looked like a very nice location. Parking was no problem. It was very secluded, as in, like, there's no old people walking through. It's like, this is the space. It's only chess players. Something that was good that we added was we put chessboards outside. Now we should just leave them there the whole time. I think we would pack them up, take them inside. So next time when people come in, chessboards, we set up all the tables outside, and people can hang out there. Even if it rains, this place is very safe from the rain. So this is a very outdoor friendly. I guess when it gets colder, it might be difficult. I guess we'll have to see then. They did say there was another room that we could use. So if it does get cold or there's some kind of weather problem, that would be the backup. So location is great. We bumped up from 1 day to 2 day, and I was talking to Drew about this, but we've done this in 6 months, which I think is pretty insane. Run 5 events, ramped up from a small 1 day to a big 1 day to I would say significantly a big 2 day. Like, in terms of strength of this tournament, this is pretty much the strongest tournament in Georgia. State championship could be close, you could say, but as far as the open section went, this was as good as it gets. Like, if you were above 1,800, like, this is the tournament for you. Like, this is what you're looking for. Another improvement, I would say, is time control. We did game 60 plus 30. Now, a concern with time control was games could go very long. And this did happen in one case, but I think we handled it very efficiently and well. So basically, the game started at 12, and the next game's at 4. And something that we basically found out is with 60 plus 30, pretty much the upper limit is 3 hours. Like, the longest games in general would go 3 hours or maybe a little extra. And then we had an exception where this game went pretty much, it would have gone more than 4 hours. But at 3:55, we paused the game, joined the game, and we basically said, you guys can finish after. And what ended up happening was one of the kids, he had another rough game. And I think at that point in the game, like, one of the sides had broken through and was winning. And the person who was on the worst side went ahead and resigned, and they didn't have to finish the game. But I think it was handled well. The pairings were already done. We did both scenarios. If the game was a draw, if the game was a win, based off the position, and that way we could do the pairings and pretty much have them ready like the second that the games are done. And if people ask us, like, I think this game only affected the bottom board or the bottom 2-3 boards, so everyone else's pairings were pretty much set. So we basically just verbally told all the top boards who was playing. So this was completely taken care of, no problem. So time control, I think, was great. Like, people say like 60 plus 30 is not enough time. If you have plus 30 seconds, that is plenty of time. Like 30-second increment. Like, okay, here's what happens. Like, if you're known for getting low on time, if you have 60 minutes, if you have 90 minutes, if you have 6 hours, like, you're going to get low on time. This is just something that you do. You think about a lot of things, you double check things, and you do it a lot, and then you end up getting low on time. Now, what helps is if you have 30-second increment, you can still survive. And what happens with people who get low on time, for the most part, is when you get in time pressure, you ramp up and you just like force yourself to play faster. And you can do that for a very long time. So it's much better having 60 minutes with 30-second increment than having 2 hours with 5-second increment, or even worse, 5-second delay. You're going to see a lot more people flagging in that time control than plus 30. And I saw that with a lot of the games that went to the end. Like, they would be close games, but you would even see the time pressure side win, or you would see them equalize because of how much 30-second increment has an effect on the game. Now, another reason for why we're doing 30-second increment is we want to eventually get to the level where we're doing FIDE time controls. Every FIDE time control is 90 plus 30 or even more. 90 plus 30 with another 30 minutes, with another 15 minutes. So I'm trying to start getting the community used to this time control, because when we do FIDE, this is what we're going to do, and this is what people are going to be used to. And it's a small sidebar, but this is what I learned when teaching at schools. Like, get these kids ready for tournaments. So basically, we do mini tournaments. We don't really write the moves yet, but we really try to simulate a tournament environment. That way, when they go play a tournament, everything is familiar. So same thing with this. When you play these tournaments and then you jump to a FIDE tournament, you're going to be like, well, I've already done this before, so I know exactly what to do. So that is what's going on with the time control. Once again, I think that was a very good thing. Now, trophies. We did trophies for the top section, winner for the under 1800 section, and we did a cup for the tournament winner. So this idea I got from Europe. All the European tournaments, they didn't really have trophies. They had cups, and cups look really nice. And this trophy we got for $25, but it might be like one of the nicest trophies you'll ever see, or like ever see in America, I will say. $25, and it's worth more, I would say, conceptually or idea-wise, than like a $100 trophy. Something like that. It was very heavy, very nice, very good quality. Everyone really enjoyed it. They thought the trophy was super cool. And congratulations to Ethan for winning the trophy. Another improvement I would say is neighboring states. We had people from Colorado. I don't think this guy's from New York, but that's where his federation was from. And then we also had people at least sign up from Florida. No, we had someone from Florida too. So word is starting to get out that these tournaments are here and they're good quality. And I think one of my students' dads went to Alabama and really told a lot of people about the tournament. So even Alabama, like, hopefully we can see more people come from Alabama as well. So another tough game for Vidic. But the tournament is definitely growing, and this is, I think, something that just is going to happen. And this is why we really have to give a lot of credit to the sponsors, because in the beginning is the hardest part. If you can get past a year or 2 years of consistency and at least not doing anything crazily bad, like, you will start seeing a big uptick in things around, and just things, I guess, just like customer trust. And sponsors allow you to basically take some hits or make some mistakes and learn. And that is something that I will definitely talk about in future improvements, but it's progress. Now, another improvement, I think, is entry fee and marketing. The staggered entry fee, I think, is really, really great. And marketing, like, this one I got on maybe like a month and a half, 2 months, already emailing, already getting things going. Now, here's one thing that happens when you market early is people will sign up and people will withdraw because of things happen. Like, a month from the tournament, people are like, yeah, of course, I'll play. I should be free. Sounds good. And then you get a weekend, and then you realize you have a wedding, or something happens, or there's a funeral, or something comes up. You're out of town, and you have to withdraw. So that's just gonna happen. Like, no one that signed up, I didn't just put on the list. Everyone that signed up verbally told me or texted me, or like I had a confirmation that they were going to play. There are receipts for everyone that signed up. So please understand, like, it's going to happen, and we just do our best. The idea of having a big list is so people know that people are playing, and if people are playing, then more people want to play. So we start early, and there's pros and cons, but overall, I would definitely say it's more pros than cons. And then interviews. So we actually did interviews after the tournament for anyone who won a prize, which I thought was a really cool idea. We don't exactly know what to do, but we have a lot of ideas with the content. Definitely, all the interviews will go on YouTube. We'll make shorts. We'll make individual interviews. There'll be a lot of stuff. And I would give it about a week or two for things to start coming out, since we have to edit everything and maybe shorten something. Some people, I will definitely say, had more to say than others. But interesting enough, like, I think most chess players are introverts. So if you ask them specific questions about something that they just completed, they will actually talk more than you expect. Like, I would say extroverts just make noise, and they like making noise. But introverts, when you ask, like, we had very specific questions, and what's great about us being chess players is we understand questions that would make sense in the context. Like, what was your favorite game, favorite opening? What do you think about this game? And I saw a lot of the games, so I'm actually, in some of the interviews, I'm actually calculating variations or asking them about specific positions. So I think interviews will be great, and it's something that you see at the highest level, not only chess, but all sports. So we'll be doing that, and I think it's nice for chess players, especially after they won or they did well, to have a little outlet for what they thought. And another thing that's cool about the interviews that I will say is we asked everyone, like, what advice would you give for new chess players? So we have a lot of things from not just me, from Carter, but from everyone who won, and specific things that they said. And I haven't had time to read it all or watch it all yet, but we'll have some kind of recap or summary of that, which I think is very good for content. Now, future improvements, so format. So something that we learned is the open section did super well. Like, it was one of the best sections. Now, some of the other sections didn't do so well. And something that I kind of took away, and I also discussed with others, is that at the top section, the top players want to play for money. They want it to be worth their time. And if the top players play, then the other players play. And then that creates a great situation. So if you have big prizes for the top section, a lot of people will play. It'll be great. Now, for the other sections, it's not so much about money. It's about, I would say, experience. I would say it's about social aspect, about fun. So for them, having very high entry fees doesn't make as much sense. I think it would make more sense to have lower entry fees and lower prizes. And then the fact that you're having the top players in the state play is going to be more incentive for them to be there, just to be around higher level competition. Like, if there was let's say I'm not a fighter, I'm not a UFC fighter, or like even close. But let's say if there was a UFC in Atlanta, which there was once, but I was very beginning. But if there was one again, I would go. And if I could go hang out with all the UFC fighters, I would 100% go. And I think that is very similar to chess players. Like, if, let's say, just like Magnus played a tournament here, there would be so many people, not only from Georgia, but from across the country that would be here because Magnus is here. Now, we don't quite have anyone at that level yet, but if you have a strong tournament, strong chess players, then other people are going to want to be there just to see, just to watch, just to be around the atmosphere. So definitely you'll see a format change and an entry fee change based off the positions, and that'll be something that we work on in the upcoming weeks. Now, we do want to get more stronger players to play in these events, so that is going to be something that really only prizes and I think word of mouth or connections can really get. So we're going to have to find some way. I mean, we have a lot of friends, but we have to make it worth their time and probably do it in advance. And if we could find it before a big event or 2 weeks before and make it a warm-up tournament, because we're not going to do like a 5-day norm tournament somewhat soon. But if we could do one before and have a similar format and have big prizes, like, a lot of people could view that as a good warm-up event for another big tournament. So that would be our way to get stronger players. But once again, like, we made progress. There's more people aware. And I think as the tournaments go on, and probably as the prize, with this format change, like, I think you'll see even bigger prizes in the open section. And that should be able to attract better players, hopefully. So we'll see what happens there. I talked about the seasonal scheduling, but I think that's something that we're going to have to do pretty much um, at every quarter, I would say quarterly. So you are going to have fall, spring, and summer. Those are kind of the big chess seasons. So I would say January to May, May to August, and then September to December. That would be how we would schedule, if not just for the whole year. Whole year would be something. That would be pretty cool. But probably we just do seasonal schedules for next year and this year, and then we work on yearly schedules for the upcoming years. Um, so scheduling. So map. A couple people did have issues finding the place, but I think it was more like they were panicking, or if you use Apple Maps. I can't say this enough. Please try to avoid using Apple Maps. Google Maps is a lot better. I would say out of 45 people, maybe 3 people had issues finding the place. But once again, once you find it, if you call us, like, it's going to be pretty straightforward. And that being said, for the first time at this event, it was pretty easy to find. Like, I would say, like, percentages wise, like, it was, like, I found it pretty easily. A lot of people found it easily. A couple people had issues, but I think there were other factors involved. And then the last thing for future improvements, Wednesdays. What are we going to do with Wednesdays? It is the question of the week, of the day, of the month. I'm not sure. Maybe we do quick chess because that's what people like. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Interesting. Quick chess could maybe be the move. I've had someone telling me that for 2-3 months now, and the fact that he's been doing it annoyingly has made me more not want to do it than do it. But maybe, I mean, it's an interesting idea that we're gonna have to consider. So that is the bulk of the EAC Fall Championship 5. Pretty much all the big stuff that went on. Once again, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to DM me and I can address them on the podcast. But that's going to be pretty much it from EAC Fall Championship 5. So a couple of smaller things. Like I said, we have the big question at the end, hating on the top. But before I get into that, let me talk about chess training and chess students for myself. So chess training has begun for me. Actually, I would say the last week I took off because running a tournament, there is a lot of stuff to do. Like, you have to do a bunch of stuff. I've been doing my 3 blitz games, 2 puzzle storm or rush, and 10 puzzles per day, pretty much. Like, outside, like, the weekend, maybe one day here and there. But I have been started training matches. Man, I dream of a day where I can just not have a bunch of stuff to do and just, like, all right, morning I do this, afternoon I do this, evening I do this. So easing into the fall schedule, coming right off of Europe, I would definitely say the jet lag is gone. I'm American again. So I would say within this week or next week, I will be back normal, have a schedule, fixed schedule. And that is something I'm very much looking forward to. Like, when do I see sensei? When do I do boxing? When do I do jiu-jitsu, stand-up? Now, that being said, I did start all these other things this past week. So boxing, jiu-jitsu, and stand-up. I did each of those once in the last 7 days. And I'm going to say, like, definitely it was hard. Like, and I'm not even going to say I lost that much progress, but when I did boxing, I boxed someone longer and faster. My arch nemesis, like, when they have a reach advantage, I have to close the distance, which means I have to take punches, which sucks. Jiu-jitsu, I rolled with people 50 to 80 pounds heavier than me and more experienced than me. So it was like, what am I going to do here? And then stand-up, I went in first one. I went to a mic. It was packed out. So I went to another mic, one that I went to back in the day. And I'm normally, they have like 3, 4, maybe like 10, 15 people. This one, they had a full crowd. And I haven't done it in a very long time. And once I put my name on the list, I was like, all right, well, I can't back out now. I thought about it. I really thought about let me just leave. And then I went to the car, like, went over my material, reviewed, and then I rewrote everything. I was like, I can't do this. This is bad. Is it panic? Nah, I don't know. I think it's probably lack of, like, proper preparation. And that's what I would say is the big thing in these 3. Like, stand-up, I did write a bunch. I have a lot of stuff. But when it comes to putting it together, I don't think I practiced enough. And this is something that, like, when I was doing it every week, twice, 3 times a week, like, you get in the flow, you understand what you have to do. When it's the first time, like, it's a little bit more interesting. And, okay, so I'm not going to say stand-up was a complete and utter disaster. Like, there were moments I did forget my line one time and I have to pull out my phone. And the ending was really bad. I had an idea that I had thought about and then I completely worded very wrong in the set, and it was not good. It was like, oh man, how could you doing this? Um, so that was stand up jujitsu. You just do what you can, and then they're like, all right, you ready to roll? And I'm like, here we go. And they're like, hey, why are you so unexcited to roll with us? And I'm like, bro, you are 60 pounds bigger than me, better than me, and it's my first day back. Why, like, imagine you have to box Mike Tyson. Are you going to be excited to box Mike Tyson? Like, of course, it's an extreme example. Not rolling with, like, a Gracie or something, but might as well be. Like, and when these people are bigger, stronger, and more experienced than me, it's like, why are you surprised? I don't understand. This should be not so surprising. But that's just people, and that's why you got to just keep showing up. Keep showing up. Eventually, like you make some progress, and that's the problem I think with martial arts is like when you're the smaller guy, like it's a lot harder. I would say for you in the beginning than it is for other people. Like big strong guys, like I think they get to blue belt really fast because they can just make up for so much with their power advantage. But for small guys, like we take the beatings in the beginning a lot, like a lot, a lot. It's just beating after beating after beating until at some point, like you start surviving, and then you start surviving, and then you start actually threatening things, and then one day, like wow, it's like wow, I came from this, and then now I'm here. Oh my gosh, Magnus just really blundered in the end game. He gave Vidic a huge hope. It was a big time pressure battle, but wow, I think Magnus is gonna actually lose this game. He won. I mean, the score is still 5-3, but Vidic was definitely hurt, and he came back. So yeah, I mean that's my pain that I felt this past week, and this is what happens when you stop doing things for a while. The flip side is, what if I had boxed someone smaller and less experienced, and I had rolled with someone smaller and less experienced, or even bigger and less experienced, is a whole nother thing. If I roll with like someone who's like 200 pounds who's never done this before, it's like I have a chance because they don't really know what to do. But everything, like every situation was like the toughest it could get in the beginning. And I don't know if it's the universe testing you or whatever, but once the tournament's wrapped up, the final payments are set and everything, and I can get back in the schedule, like week after week after week after week, I will keep going multiple times a week, and I'm really excited for that. Once I can get there, once I can get 2 weeks down of consistency, like then it's when you really start seeing like the butterfly come out of the cocoon. So that's all you have to get to. Just buckle down, bite down on your mouthpiece, and get there. If this wasn't EAC Fall Championship 5, the name and the name of the podcast, it would be Bite Down on Your Mouthpiece, because that is kind of what I feel right now. You just bite down and keep pressing forward. And eventually, it's going to hurt. You're going to take some punches. You're gonna get tossed around, but you'll get there. Now, chess students, before I get to the last topic, something that I've learned is don't cut slack on your students. Like, okay, so I would say my default as a teacher and probably as a parent eventually is not to be authoritarian or disciplinarian. It's not to really be like mean if they do something wrong. Like some parents like yell at their kids. Some teachers yell at kids. Like that is not my natural thing. Like even when one of my students over the past weekend like had a really good game against someone much higher rated and like missed a very I think simple easy win. And it's not like I got mad. I just got like really sad. I was just like, no, my heart, like it hurts. So the reason I bring this up is when teaching students, I have a requirement. I make sure that they practice 3 days a week, and if they don't, I tell them no lesson. And a bunch of these guys have got, I'm not saying, actually not a bunch, but a couple of them have not, they've been close or they haven't filled out their spreadsheet. I basically held them to a lower standard. And every time I see this, every time you hold your student to a lower standard, especially when you're not holding them to a very high standard. If you hold them to S tier standard, like the highest standard possible, and they're a little bit lower, then okay, like I think that's not the worst thing in the world. But if you hold them to, I would say like a mid standard, just like, like what you need to do, and they don't do that, if they fall below that, they're going to lose confidence and you're going to see it in the results. And I'm seeing that with a couple kids who, the ones that I cut slack with are the ones that either have been stuck or like don't know what to do, and they have either gotten worse or they get to the point where they're like, I don't think chess is for me. Like I have to do something else or I have to find another coach or whatever. So I think like that is something that I need to work on. Just like if they don't do work, like I have to really I'm not gonna say come down on them, but just say, okay, no class. Like, hey, even if they're like one puzzle short, I'll say we had an agreement. you're going to do this, this, and this. If you are short, then there's no class. And the problem is like, okay, if you don't have class, then you don't get paid, and that's kind of how you make a living. So I guess it's just a hit you have to take. Like you have to be ready for that. And if you hold yourself to a higher standard in the beginning, it's like biting down on your mouthpiece. Like it's gonna hurt. Like you're gonna make it less money, but at some point you're gonna have a standard for students where they will be the top level that you wanted them to be and that they wanted to be. Like I think furthermore, this is like you don't teach to teach. You teach because the student wants to learn. Like this student came here to get better at chess, and that is the number one thing when you are spending time with them. So by not holding them to a standard, by letting them get away with things, like you are ruining that, and you're ruining them wanting to learn and become better. So that has been my lesson, and I actually have to have dinner with one of my students' parents this weekend about what's going on, or like I guess they don't know if they should keep playing chess. And I think this has been my realization from that, because he was a very promising student, and you kind of let them slip, and now I guess they're confused. And so that was one big thing from chess students that I learned. Now that being said, a lot of my students have done very well recently. Like a couple of them have gained 100 points, 2,000 to 2,100, 1,800, 1,900, and that's really good to see. Which shows like if you do what you're supposed to do, you'll get better. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, there's no guarantee you get better. Which is why like I'm trying to push for this, because I'm seeing it works if you do it right. Now something very a little bit different, switching gears with chess students, is swing thoughts. Like I think at certain levels there is 1 to 3 things that are holding you back. It is just these 1 to 3 things. Everything else, for the most part, of course, there's exceptions, but if you can fix these 3 things, you will see a big jump in your skill level, a big jump in what is holding you back, like a jump from white to blue belt, blue to purple belt in chess terms. So if I can get these guys to focus on these things during the game, like during the game, this is what you say in your head, and this is something that I have done to myself. Like I'll ask myself, why am I trying to lose this position? Don't move backwards. Don't be too optimistic. Really check if it works. Those 3 things, like if I can do those in certain positions, like now I'm either drawing or winning certain games, or not losing, or holding. Like these few thoughts that you have can go a long way and stop you from doing something that in the past you've done and you were punished for. So I think swing thoughts is a very important idea, and actually something I got from a friend of mine that doesn't even play chess. It's actually about drinking too much. If you just focus on, okay, I'm going to stabilize, do this, like you can come back. All right, and then last thing, chess courses. So I do think I was talking to my uncle. My uncle is actually a business professor, and my cousin works for Netflix, and we were really talking a lot about making a chess course for beginners, like tournament ready in 10 weeks. And I have a lot of material. I have a lot of puzzle sheets. I have a lot of spreadsheets, YouTube videos. If I can all put them together, openings, if I can put them all together and make a chess course for beginners, 0 to 10 weeks to get you tournament ready, I think that would be another great thing to add to chess teaching from my aspect. Like if I can put it's almost like a master class together, have tests and quizzes, have a final exam, and like at the end of this, like you will definitely know chess. You will know the French, the Stonewall Dutch, you know all the, because basically when I teach someone, I would say the first 10 lessons are at least like very close to the same, and then you add on some like editing from like going over games, reviewing games. But the material for all the openings, the material for all of the positional stuff, for all the learning about chess is all the same. So if I can condense that and put that in one place, people can learn all this, show that they learned this, take tests, then we'll be able to speak, and you'll have a fast track to where you're trying to go. And once again, it doesn't have to be 10 weeks. If you could put, probably something like 10 hours. You can put 10 hours in about a week, 2 weeks if you really put your mind to it. So you can be literally, if you master all this, it's like taking a college class pretty much. You can finish it in 2 weeks, or you can take a whole semester. But if you stay consistent and you know everything, you can pass the test. That proves like you know what you're doing. So that's the idea with chess courses. Now the last thing I want to talk about was hating at the top. And I wanted to start with Magnus Carlsen. Like a lot of people, even the kids these days, you're getting older when you say kids these days, but kids are being like, I don't like Magnus. I'm like, how do you not like Magnus? He's the best chess player of all time. He's won every format, the best at every format. He's the most dominant champion. You have to respect it. Like me as a chess player, as someone, I guess, at a high level at what I do, you have to respect people who can do things better than you. Like, that's just facts. You can say, I don't like their personality, I think they are a terrible person, but you pretty much have to respect them, I would say. And, that being said, I think Magnus is fine. Okay, maybe he's a little bit of diva in the Hans Niemann thing, but overall, I'd say he's a pretty funny guy, does a lot for chess. Like, something he does is, like, when he wins tournaments, when he wins, like, Elite Chess Arenas, he donates all the money back because he's like, well, I have enough money. I want to support chess. Like that alone and him being the best player of all time, like you should already be like, I have to respect this guy unless something really big happened. And I wouldn't say the whole Hans thing is such a big deal. Okay, like it's weird, whatever, and everything is weird, so just leave it alone. But people love to hate on people, and this is something maybe I should call it the Patriots effect. Like the Patriots and Tom Brady won so many times that everyone hated the Patriots. They were like, I hate the Patriots. The Patriots suck. They're the worst. I guess if you have another favorite person, or let's say you have 3 or 4 different teams that you like. Let's say the Bears, the Packers, the Lions. I'm picking the worst teams ever, and the Dolphins. And every time they play the Patriots, they lose. Yeah, I guess I could understand why you would not like the Patriots so much. But that being said, you have to respect them. Like for me, that example is LeBron James. I am a huge Heat fan. I'm a Dwayne Wade fan. I don't even know if I have someone new that I like that much. When you're a kid, you really like, and when you get older, you're just like, whatever. But anyway, even when LeBron James came to Miami, I was like, all right, cool, LeBron James. And when he left, I've never been a big LeBron James fan. That being said, I have to respect him. If I saw him, I'd be like, wow, it's LeBron James. I'm not gonna be like, hey, LeBron, you suck. Like I could beat you at basketball. How'd you miss that shot? No, I'd never say that. You respect people that are good. I think this is something that's happening, and it's unfortunate, I would say. But it's a trend that I see, and once I started with Magnus, I started realizing like this happens to pretty much a lot of people at top. And it's actually something that happened recently, was there was a big Adesanya fight. Like Israel Adesanya is a huge UFC fighter, one of my favorite fighters, and he finally lost I'm not gonna say after a while, but he lost to someone he shouldn't have lost to. And after that, like a lot of people started coming out being like, oh, I knew he was bad. Like, I can't believe this. And, like, I was so excited when he lost. Like, and once again, I think the reason for this is he was such a dominant champ, or he won so many times, he beat so many people. Like, you make a lot of enemies in the process, which I think is very, very silly. I've never really had someone who just kept winning that I really, really, really disliked. I would say, like, I root against them, but I'm not like, yeah, I get happy when they lose, you know? So that is the Patriots effect. That is something that you see. So overall, getting back to the swing of things, back to reality, back to America, feels good. Just got to get through the next maybe week or 2 weeks and get in a rhythm and a schedule. Once I can get that, I'm free and life is good. So that is a recap for EAC Fall Championship 5. If you guys have anything you want me to talk about or discuss on the podcast, please let me know. Message me on Instagram, DAARON.3. These videos I think I'm going to put on my YouTube channel, D'Aaron Chess. So if you find it there, it'll be there, DAARON. If you can't spell chess, I don't know how to help you, but D'Aaron Chess on YouTube. And apart from that, hope you guys are entertained, and that is all for today. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.